8 tips for horse riding while you're pregnant. Hey guys, and welcome to the next episode of Unstoppable Equestrian. I'm Danielle Pools from Dressage Plus, and today's video is a little bit different. I'm talking or sharing with you 8 different tips that I thought are relevant for when you're pregnant and riding and choosing to ride, just to help you through if you're pregnant as well and going on the journey of riding while you're pregnant. I know this video isn't suitable for everyone, but I do have a lot of followers in their 20s and 30s that probably are in similar situation that I was about 8 months ago, or planning to get pregnant and unsure on, I don't know, just how it will all work while you're riding and on your journey of pregnancy. And so there's not much on the internet really. When I Google, there's not many like blog posts or video blogs that really give you a whole heap of information. So I thought I'll create a short video just with some tips that I've found useful as I've gone on my journey. So firstly, I'm 7 months pregnant now. So I am in my 31st week, starting to get a bit of a tummy now, definitely looking pregnant. There's Rondo, and she's been such a good girl on this journey. And I'm in my 3rd trimester, got a couple of months left, and I want to take you through the 8 tips that I've come up with. Some of them are a little bit like basic or common sense, but worth talking about. So the first one I want to talk about is it's your choice, and this one is a little bit of a controversial one, I guess. Some people believe that you shouldn't ride while you're pregnant, and some people think it shouldn't matter, and I think it really just is your choice, and empowering yourself to make that choice, yours and your partner's, I should say. Obviously I felt super comfortable riding. Rondo's reliable. I've had her since before she was broken in. I've never fallen off her from her being naughty or anything like that. She's not a bucker or a rear, or she'll have a shy, but I'm comfortable with that. And she's been super quiet and relaxed and nice for me on my journey. But if I had a particularly naughty horse or a particularly silly young horse, I would be making a different decision. So I think, and my partner was comfortable with my decision, so that's very good. He was really supportive for me to keep riding. And I think that's important. You've just got to go with your gut feeling, with your instincts and the situation you're in. Obviously, a dressage rider like myself is going to have a different situation to maybe an event rider. And when you decide to stop competing and all those kind of things, stop jumping, and if you stop jumping, it just depends on your situation, your horses you're riding, and how you feel about it all, your journey, your pregnancy journey. But I think it is really important not to take on board too much of what other people say around you, especially the doctors, and obviously the doctors are fantastic, but they're not horse riders generally. I know my doctors aren't horse riders, and they don't really understand, and they're not around horses all the time, and obviously it's my choice to weigh up the risks and decide if it's a risk I want to take, and I obviously decided it was, and that's my journey. So I just wanted to empower you a little bit in case you're unsure about what decision to make there. Number 2 tip is to choose or find some comfy joddies. So I am a very kinesthetic person, which means that I am all about feelings, like noticing what I'm feeling, but also feeling comfortable. So I'm comfort over visual. Comfort is way more important to me with how I look a lot of the times. And so particularly I was in those first few months, I went through quite a bit of morning sickness. That isn't just the morning, it's morning through the day, and so it's worse for me. It was worse in the morning and then worse from 6 p.m. onwards. But in that time, there was nothing worse than the idea of tight jobbers around my tummy. And even though my tummy, obviously in those first early 4 months for me when I was feeling quite sick, your tummy's not huge, but the last thing I wanted was something tight around my tummy. And so I also didn't want to spend a lot of money for such a short period of time to buy new jodhpurs and to then be hopefully back to my pre-baby body and back into my old joddies. So I just invested in, I don't know if you'll be able to see them, do that. Just those tights, the Dublin tights, and they're not the prettiest of jodhpurs, the colour that I found that was really comfy, but they've just been super comfy. They've got the elastic band up here. I went, I think, a size bigger than I normally am, but they're a very generous size, and I tried on heaps of joddies because I wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable and that there was no pressure around my tummy as I grew, and that, yeah, it was just a super comfy fit. And these ones, I've loved them. They're very stretchy. Hopefully they stretch back down as I get smaller so I can use them next summer, because they're really light as well, which was great for summer. So that's one thing. I would definitely suggest investing in some really stretchy, comfortable joddies. Tip number 3, go to the toilet before you get on. Super basic tip, but I found it was probably maybe month 4 onwards, I think, that I would get out onto the arena and I didn't feel like I needed to go to the toilet, but then I'd start trotting, and those first few laps of trotting around the arena, just this heavy feeling, really low, where she's sitting, I guess, gravity's taking over as you're trotting around, and straight away I felt like I was busting for the toilet, and I wasn't, but just going to the toilet before I get on, I still do that now, just helps to kind of relieve any extra pressure that might start as you start your ride. Tip number 4, another basic one, but make sure you take snacks and a drink bottle to the tack room or to your stables where you're saddling up. So for me, this was really important, experiencing the morning sickness. I noticed that if I was hungry, or as soon as I got hungry, I felt so much more nauseous, and so just having a muesli bar or a few biscuits or something like that to snack on and bite on just as soon as I get off, it just helped settle my tummy, because as soon as it got empty, I got, that yucky feeling, and it just helped. And it's still back in my 3rd trimester now. The nauseous feeling has come back a little bit, unfortunately, without the throwing up, so that is a bonus. But I noticed now that if I let myself get hungry, that the nauseous feeling is more hard to manage. So for me, that means eating something little, snacking on something every hour and a half to keep that at bay. So just a tip there, if you are one of the unlucky ones that experience morning sickness, it's helped me to just nibble on something as soon as I get off from riding. Have breakfast beforehand, because I ride in the morning, and I did it that way, and that helped, having a drink bottle there to make sure I was keeping my fluids up, because a lot of the time they weren't staying in my body, unfortunately, at the start. But that is just a simple one worth thinking about. Tip number 4, manage your mindset. So this is really important as you're going along your journey, and I think worth talking about that if you get to a part of your pregnancy riding journey and you're starting to notice self-doubt thoughts and the feelings or what ifs, like, oh, what if I fall off today? What if something bad happens? What if my horse spooks, or this is the day that something, like I have an injury or get knocked over or anything like that? I think that's a signal that you need to read into and take that as your gut feeling that maybe it's time for you to look at finishing up riding on that pregnancy journey for yourself. The last thing you want to do is get on and have what if thoughts like that, because obviously that hesitance in your riding your horse is going to feel that, and if they then take advantage of it or feel nervous themselves, you are upping your chances of something happening while you're pregnant, and we don't want that, obviously. So I think managing your mindset, just checking in with yourself. If you're feeling you're doubting whether it's the right thing, or you're having niggling, I don't know, anything, then be honest with yourself and make a call on whether you finish riding earlier than you thought. And that leads us into tip number Tip number 6, Tip number 6, having a loose plan on what you want to do while you're pregnant, your riding plan. And I say loose because obviously it can change if you start to, all our bodies are different. So our bodies, and it's amazing, the first pregnancy, I guess the second one, I'll have, like, people know what to expect a little bit more, but the first pregnancy there's so many new things going on, and you don't know how you're going to feel and what your body's going to do and how quickly your tummy will change and how your balance feels. And I've been lucky that my balance hasn't felt too much like it's been affected at all. Maybe the last week or so I can notice a little bit more, but nothing too out of the ordinary, which is good. But you don't know. So I had a plan. I wanted to ride up until about 7 months. So, and then the last couple of months obviously should have off, and then hopefully only a month or maybe 6 weeks, depending how my delivery goes, of her having more time off and then bringing her back into work. And so, and for me, so I'm hoping 3 months will be all she has off, but who knows? Pregnancy doesn't happen often, and it's pretty special to have a child. So I don't want to throw away that time and that experience. When we put riding into perspective, we get to ride for so many years, and we don't get to have babies that often, I guess. We're not pumping out a baby every year, most of us aren't. So that to me is kind of, a time to really remind myself to make the most of it. And if it's 3 months, 4 months, whatever that Rondo has to have off, then she'll be fine, I'll be fine. In a year's time, we won't even know that she had the time off, and she will probably enjoy herself as well. So having that loose plan, but then being okay with changing it. If you're having complications in your pregnancy, or you're just not feeling right riding, then change your plan. Your horse can go on holiday earlier, or if you're lucky enough to have someone to ride it, then they can ride it. Don't get too fixated on that, and think of the long-term picture more so than that moment will help as well. Tip number 7. This is a basic one as well, but if you're feeling a bit unsure at times, or you're starting to notice your balance go, have a monkey strap. I haven't put one on, I've been feeling okay, but just having a monkey strap across here if you needed to, so you can either grab it if you wanted to, or even in the later stages of pregnancy, you could ride holding it with one hand the whole time if you felt like that gave you more stability. It sounds silly, but it's worth mentioning it just to give you permission. It's okay to ride with a monkey strap. And finally, tip number 8, dismount onto soft ground. And so I've been lucky, I haven't had too much problems getting on and off, but I do make sure that I dismount onto some soft ground. So I find a patch of grass rather than landing on like the concrete in the stables or gravel or something like that. I find a patch of grass, and I've been finding like a gate or a fence behind me. So when I get off, if I was to kind of lose a bit of balance, I'll just fall back into the gate and not fall right over onto my back. So just a real simple one, but worth thinking about. Just find somewhere comfy to get off, so you're not landing super heavy and jarring your body as you're getting off. So that is my tips. Hopefully you got some information in there. I am thinking this will probably be my last week of riding myself. Just feels right, and I've been probably for the last month or so, maybe even 6 weeks, I have been a lot more basic in my rides, a lot of walking exercises, only small amounts of trot and canter, and I think which Rondo probably loves. And it just feels right now to start to finish up and start preparing for the next chapter of my life, and enjoying what's to come, I guess. So I hope this video has helped if you're in similar situation where you're either thinking about getting pregnant, or you're in your start of your pregnancy, a bit unsure of what decisions to make while you're riding in your pregnancy. Hopefully this has helped. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me or reach out to me, and I can answer in any way that might, like any answer I can give you going off what my journey's been like. Good luck if you are pregnant, and I hope you have a great journey, and all the best for all the exciting times to come. Have a great week. See ya.